I'm Nathalie Mezza-Garcia, and welcome to the Floating Cities Show. Here, you'll learn about the latest floating projects, developments, houses, buildings, neighborhoods, floating city plans, and the regulations, zones, and jurisdictions that enable them all across the world. You'll hear directly from the makers, the architects, designers, developers, engineers, and even the regulators that make floating projects possible. Come join me while together with Sophia, we help you navigate the complexity of these new waters. On our show today, we have ocean builders. Hello, everyone. I'm here with Romundt from Ocean Builders, who's going to tell us about one of the most interesting and beautiful developments that are taking place in the floating space. How are you, Grant?
Very good. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. I have so many things to ask you, Grant, but first, I want you to tell our listeners and viewers about your projects. Just in general terms, what are you doing?
We are building a floating house that is unlike anything you've seen before. It's not anything like a boat at all. It's made with some similar materials that boats use to be made, but this is a different structure completely. This looks like almost like an egg that is about 2.5 meters over the water. And it has a pole, basically a metal pole, steel pole that goes into the water to flotation that's under the water. So it looks very, very unique. And you can see one outside my window right there. That's the top half. Okay. And then there's a bottom half that's in production right now in the factory, which is right on the other side of that wall. And then there's some side pieces that connect the top to the bottom.
Cool. Yeah, it looks like a spaceship almost, like if an egg and a spaceship, a high-tech egg would have had a baby.
Yeah, it actually feels like that. And it really, I've never touched a UFO, but it's what I would imagine a UFO would feel like when you walk along and it's like a perfectly smooth surface.
Zoo, 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 zoo.
It has the shape of what, like a UFO corner might be like. And it feels otherworldly, and it kind of looks otherworldly too. So and it's huge. It's
I can see.
The pictures are, you don't really get a good judgment of how big it is from the pictures, but when you actually see it, it's like, wow, this is huge.
It's huge, literally and metaphorically. Yeah. So why did you go with the spar design? Like you say, it's not common. It looks extremely cool. It's also very stable. But what were the reasons that led you to say, let's just do a spar? Well, let's use a spar.
Well, what the spar allows us to do, so we have this post that goes into the water, and that's kind of like a wine bottle it's filled with air, and that causes flotation. So we have enough flotation under the water to push the house up over the water. And by having the house over the water, that means that we're not in the waves. And that's a really important point. I think there's a number of things why people don't live on the water. And one of them is that they get seasick and the house moves and it's not very comfortable. And so this helps make the house much more calm and stable in waves, because now the waves are interacting only with this small 1.6 meter diameter tube instead of with the whole house. The whole house is not sitting in the water, in the waves. So that makes a huge difference.
Okay, and I know that this design in particular has this part, but also has some form of tripod for more stability, and you are using these corners for creating functional spaces. Can you tell us a bit about these functional spaces that you have on the side spars?
Sure. So we call it the tripod model. It's designed for shallow water because the location we're putting the first seapods here at our location here in Panama is in an area where the water is between 5 and 20 meters deep.
Okay. Okay.
Pretty shallow compared to other locations. And in this area, we couldn't have a deep water spar, which, you know, our original prototype, the spar was 20 meters deep.
Yeah.
Just that part. And then there's other parts that underneath it that we needed as well. So we had to redesign things a bit to go into a shallower area. So we have what we call the tripod, which basically looks like a tripod. And the arms of the tripod go out at 120-degree angles. So there's like perfectly set in 120 degrees per outer, we call them outriggers, each of those 3 outriggers. And they're filled with air. And then they go to the side spars so we have 1 side spar on each of the outriggers. So there's a total of 3. And then we figured we can do some, you know, why don't we do something interesting with each of those side spars?
Yeah.
So we started to brainstorm and, you know, what could we do with them? And we had some people that suggested that we put a jacuzzi there.
I love that.
That would be really cool to have a jacuzzi.
Yeah.
Infinity jacuzzi, basically, because it's right on the edge of the water. And you'll have these incredible views. So that just seems like a great place. We're originally going to put have a really nice bathtub jacuzzi in the shower inside the house, but then we thought, well, it makes more sense to have it on the side spar.
That's beautiful. An infinity jacuzzi. It's like next level infinity pool.
Yeah.
I love that. Are you also using the spars for things that are functional related to the utilities or to the systems that go in the house itself also?
So yes, we're also using that for solar panels. So we'll have so we have 3 side spars that we can do nothing with, or we can do something with it. So we're trying to explore what those things are. So one of the ones that's on the first model that's already on the water, actually, we just haven't put the jacuzzi unit in yet. One of the 3 side spars is being used for the jacuzzi. Another one is being used for what we call a gazebo, which is a water gazebo. So when you put water with a gazebo, it becomes a gazebo. And that will be covered by a roof that has solar panels on top. So it becomes a very functional space. So you can have your solar energy generation, as well as your another entertainment space, a lounge area to hang out with guests, or just sit and read, or work on a laptop. So I think that makes a lot of sense.
Nice.
The third one, the third side spar on the prototype, or the production prototype we're building right now, we are going to we already built the landing pad. It's going to be a landing pad for a manned drone, or a VTOL, a vertical takeoff and landing aircraft.
Okay.
So it's that.
Nice.
You know, we've been teased since I was a kid. There's science news magazines that talked about, you know, in the future, we're going to have our flying cars, and we haven't gotten them yet, but now they're actually starting to come off the production line. Yeah, there's a company called eHang, and they are actually, you can order, they have them in stock. You can order a flying car basically right now, and they will deliver them in, you know, the delivery time is 3 weeks.
Oh,
So,
really? I thought you were going to say 3 years.
no,
Oh, cool. For how many people?
I think that's only 2 people right now. It's the
That's cool.
E 216 model. So that's available right now. And we're in talks with EHang to, the sun is really bright there. We're in talks with EHang to get their units here. We would like to have it. We're talking about Christmas, but I think it's not going to happen for Christmas. I think it will be later in the year, or sometime early in the year next year.
Yep.
And then they have another model that they're coming out with that they just announced a few months ago that is kind of a cross between a drone and a fixed wing aircraft. So it actually has a much larger range.
Okay.
So we're exploring which one we're going to get. And we should hopefully know in the next couple of months. We have one of the representatives from EHang coming down to visit us on the 19th of December. So that will be, the landing pad is already built, so we can land one today if they set one here. So they're the guy from EHang said, he said to me that he would like to be Santa and bring the most kick-ass Christmas Santa's ever delivered to anyone anywhere. So we'll see if that happens. I think it's going to be more like spring next year is more reasonable.
Okay. Well, this year has gone by so fast. I don't even, for me, it was April and now it's October. I don't know what happened in the meantime, but yeah, so I understand why things are taking longer right now. Yeah. It's the nature of things, but that sounds extremely cool. Yeah. So when I visit, I'm going to make sure that I depart from land and I land in the, what's the name of the landing pad for a drone?
A landing pad.
Okay, you have to come up with a name. Such a cool design, really. You have to come up with a name. Okay, cool. So what other areas of in what other areas of your project you are pushing things from a technological point of view?
Ooh, a lot. I was like a minute late on our call today because I was speaking with my chief technology officer and talking about trying to figure out how to, because we're developing a lot of technologies and we're trying to figure out, well, maybe because we're planning on having a lot of tech in the seapod. But I'm recently starting to think that I would like to be able to have standalone things that, so like we're developing a smart bilge pump for pumping out water. And we're thinking, well, why don't we just have that as a separate product? Because I think that's something that the marine industry could be interested in, just, you know, having that by itself. That would be a great product. And there's already some things like that, but I think we could have something pretty interesting because we could have a smart bilge pump that you can get, and then you can get an add-on when you're ready or when you want. That can be the smart desalination technology system that you can manage it all through an app, and you can just add on functionality as you want. So you can add this, you can add that, and then you can, maybe when the new thing comes out in 6 months, you can add that, and then you can build up the smartness of your boat over time. So it can work on seapods, but it can also, why not have it work also on any other boat, and also actually on land. We develop the same systems for land pods. We have a wastewater treatment technology we're developing, which I think is just amazing. It uses a technology called electrocoagulation, which has been around since '58, but it's usually only been used in large wastewater treatment plants for, you know, cities.
Okay.
They're usually large plants, but there really hasn't been any reason why you haven't reduced the size of it and used it on an individual basis in a home.
Okay.
So we're working with a company that is developing it for us to be the size of a home, not to be the size of something that is appropriate for a home. And then we're building our smart tech into it as well. So and that technology, I think, is a huge breakthrough, because now that's going to allow you to recycle like 99.9% of your gray water, as well as your black water, your liquid black water. And I think that's huge for boats, because if you're living on a boat and you have to take either dump your gray water and black water in the ocean, which is not really a good solution at all, or you have to have it pumped out, go to a marina or have a boat come by and pump it out, and that's just an inconvenience, and it's not a fun job.
Yeah.
So I lived on a floating house in Toronto for 3.5 years, and I just had someone else do the pump out for me. I had my landlord because I didn't want to deal with it. It's not
yeah, I understand. Yeah. So maybe that's why the technology hasn't taken off, because there's a psychological barrier to think, well, I'm gonna reuse the water that it's dirty, or what do I don't want to drink my pee, right? That would be the mindset. But I know that you are integrating these systems in a way that is smooth for the user or the house owner. And so then that psychological barrier won't be there, because they won't see what's happening behind the scenes, right?
Well, we actually have different compartments for the wastewater treatment. So there's going to be one for gray water. Yeah. And so all the gray water is going to be in a closed loop. And that will go, so the cleaned gray water will go back into shower water, sink, for kitchen sink, bathroom sink, maybe dishes, dishwasher, washer for clothes and all that kind of thing. So it can be used for those applications. And then the black water, liquid black water, would go in a closed loop back into the toilet. Okay. So we're not going to make that into your drinking water. Although it is good enough to drink, it's totally clean. It doesn't have any smell, but psychologically, it's not the best thing.
Yeah. No, it exists. You can also, even solid black water, you can just turn it into drinkable water. But okay.
And then the desalination technology would be your source of drinking water. So we'll desalinate the water, but what you get when you desalinate water is basically dead water. It's some people call it technical water, because it's technically water, but it's not really healthy water.
Oh.
All the nutrition, all the nutrients out of it, just stripped of all that stuff. So then we're going to put it through another process to add healthy minerals back, so it actually is healthy water, and it's much better than just desalinated water. So that would be your drinking water, or you can bring water bottles on if you want. But
on the drone,
yeah, you can do that. You're working on that. That's another project, is the drone delivery technology.
Yes.
We have drone trash service, trash recycling and compost. We figured that would be like an amazing thing to have, that you can have trash on demand, taken out on demand. Like the idea would be that you'd have in the kitchen, under the sink, you'd have your trash bin, your recycling, and your compost. And then when the trash reached maybe 10 pounds of weight, an alert would go off, and then you'd say, okay, now it's time to take out the trash. So you take out the trash, you put it on the drone landing receptacle, and it detects, okay, this is trash, or this is compost, or this is recycling, and then it sends an API call, to the drone service, and then the automated drone comes, picks up your trash and takes it away. So I thought that would be really amazing. But that we decided we're not going to go that route for trash for aerial service, because that's going to be
expensive.
Well, you'll have too much of a limitation for weight.
Yeah.
And also, if there's an issue and the drone falls in the water, then you have all this trash in the water. That's not good. That's not a good issue. That's a solution. So we're going to use drones instead for delivery service. So you'll have the delivery service for up to a certain weight for courier packages, or maybe seapod to seapod. If you want to borrow your neighbor's a pound of butter, or they call it, pick up your salt and deliver it to you. And,
cool.
or emergency medical as well. So if you need defibrillator, then you can have, in 3 minutes, you can have a defibrillator at your door or on your patio, or pizza delivery. There's restaurants around here, but getting them to your seapod may not be the easiest thing, or not the thing, because you have to get on a boat, you have to go there and pick it up and come back. Why not just have partnerships with local restaurants, so they can make the food, put it into a pickup spot where the drone comes, picks it up and takes it away, and it's at your door and it's hot in a few minutes.
And it's possible.
Yeah.
I like that.
A lot of the technology for this is a year and a half ago, when we started working on it, was pretty far away from being ready. And now there's open source platforms that are almost ready, like that have a lot of it already done. So we're just putting the pieces together right now. I have a guy that's working on that in Australia. I'm trying to get him to come here to work on site, so we can get this put together as quickly as possible. And we figure it's doable to have it by spring next year, potentially, possibly, maybe, we'll see. But we're definitely working on it, because it's a lot of exciting, fun stuff.
How about the sensors?
How about the what?
Different sensors and IoT in the house.
Okay.
What's happening in that realm?
There's lots. So we want to. There's actually quite a few, and we're adding more. So we would like to keep an eye on the movement of the seapod. So we'll have these are all upgrades. The seapod will come just as a basic unit, then people can add what they want. So they don't have to get any of these things. These are all optional. So I would like to have the ability to monitor movement and just know if we're in really rough weather, and maybe, I need to get back to my seapod so I can close all the hatches and the windows and all that. So I would like to know if things are really rough, or be able to monitor remotely. So we'll have movement sensors in the center, as well as the outer spars or the side spars. So we'll know exactly what kind of movement we're getting, and orientation as well. So it have a 9-axis sensors that will know if it's twisting this way or this way or this way. And then also if it's moving forward, backwards, side to side, up, down. And then also 3-axis in relation to magnetic north. Okay. So we'll have all those data points. And so we'll know exactly where it is, and we'll have GPS and everything. So there's lots of data there. We have temperature, humidity, barometric pressure, then fire, there's an LED, well, not an LED, a light detector that we have. Okay. That detects the certain flicker that is associated with fire. So there's a certain frequency
Oh, okay.
to say, okay, that's fire. And so we'll have that. We'll have gas sensors as well. So if there's a propane or some other gas leak, then we'll know. If there is smoke, we'll know as well. So there's lots of sensors that are possible. We'll have things like these, all kinds of goodies. Might as well grab all my goodies over here. My little display table there. We'll have a sensor like this, which detects NFC signals. So you can either have your phone that you can use as an NFC device to trigger your shower to turn on. So your app can be programmed, so you can say, okay, I like my showers at 110 degrees, or I like my showers at whatever temperature. You can have that pre-programmed, and you can have the pressure as well.
Cool.
So some people like high pressure, some people like a little bit less. So you can choose what kind of shower you want. We're also maybe considering using a different shower head that has the option of having the handheld shower, or a shower option, or a rain shower. There's waterfall, and then there's a mist. So you can choose whichever you want. And it'll all be activated by you can have a smart ring like this, and you swipe the smart ring in front of the sensor, and then it says, okay, this is Grant or Natalie, and automatically it sets it to your temperature, to your preferred temperature. And maybe like I'm wanting to get into the Wim Hof method. I don't know if you've heard of it, but Wim Hof method, which is basically where you have a cold shower and it stimulates your immune system.
Oh, yes.
It really popular last year with so you could have something where at the end of 5 minutes, and the shower automatically gives you a beep tone, and then it goes into the cold shot.
Oh, maybe it shouldn't give you the beep, because if I was doing that, then I know that when it beeps, okay, today I'm not doing it, and I would leave the shower. But no, I know people who do it for 5 minutes. They shower normally, and then and then I wouldn't be able to. It's actually, it's like being on a jacuzzi and then jumping on a cold pool, or on a lake, being in a sauna and then on a lake. That actually feels good now that I think about it.
It does. It just takes some getting used to.
Yep. I know that.
We have these also, which are this is like standard off the shelf wireless charging. So it's built in. This will actually take the guts out of here and just have the charging coil, and this will be integrated throughout the house in different locations, so you can charge your phone without having wires. I think light switches are really ugly. I think cords are really ugly. I think plugs where you plug things in are really ugly, and having lights and light bulbs hanging out all over the place, I think they're not attractive at all. So we're trying to have everything as much as possible integrated into the walls or into the surfaces, so you can charge your phone by just putting it on a specific space on the kitchen counter, bedside table, or in the bathroom on a certain area. And we want to have integrated, or we're building integrated LED light strips into the floor level as well as the ceiling level.
Like a spaceship.
Yeah, it's much more attractive effective
Yeah.
because it's direct lighting, it's nicer, and you don't see light bulbs that are, I don't know. I mean, you can have nice LED lights or nice, fancy light shades and all that, but I think it's much nicer if the walls just light up.
Well, also, if you are, it's a home what you are building, but the shipping industry, at least, it's very used to having things on walls and making walls functional. Walls are beds, walls are compartments. So why not walls or desk surfaces and kitchen counters are charging stations, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Your design, speaking of the design that you have is very minimalistic. I can see now why, but so Waterstudio designed it, no? I know that they are one of the top architecture firms from around the world. If you can talk a bit about how was the process of designing with Waterstudio, and yeah, how did you ended up with this very minimalistic, futuristic, elegant, clean, white design?
Well, I met Koen Wolfhaus, who's the founder of Waterstudio, and when I was just starting this project, I wanted to have something that people looked at and were like inspired by it, and they wanted to experience it or were curious about it.
Yeah.
Because this is something so different
Yeah.
from anything people have seen before, that if it looked strange or looked unappealing, then it might not get the attention that it should get. And I think living on the water offers a lifestyle that's uncomparable to anything you really can get on land. It's really magical.
Yeah.
I lived in a floating house in Toronto for 3.5 years, and it was incredible. It was like living at a resort, and it was beautiful. It had so many benefits. You had access to land and everything that you can get from access to land, but also had immediate access to the water. So you had water sports available to you, and so it's a really, really nice way to live.
Yeah.
Once you've tried it, you don't want to live any other way. You sleep better. It's a calm, peaceful, meditative way of living, because there's something about sitting and watching the water float by your house, and you can do that for hours and hours and hours. It's really, it's like can put you into a trance.
Yeah.
So it's a really nice way of living. So I wanted to make the house look really appealing. So I met with Koen in Singapore at a conference on floating homes, or floating solutions, I think it was called the conference.
Oh yeah, from the Society of Floating Solutions.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's where we met, and we planned to meet there, and then we met, and we sat down with a big, large sheet of white paper and started drawing ideas. And we were like two kids in a play yard, started drawing things and putting ideas out. And we had two initial concepts for what we might do with the design, and this was one of them. The other one maybe we'll do another time in the future.
Oh, I've never seen the other one. I think the other one hasn't
Only
been.
one person.
No, right?
Only one person has ever seen the other concept.
Oh,
That will be a surprise in the future.
cool.
So we decided to go with this concept, which is the kind of like the Jetsons version of a floating house.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's, people make that comparison all the time, and I think it's pretty accurate, because instead of floating in the clouds, it's floating over the water, and it's the same kind of idea. It's kind of like the bubble kind of shaped home.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't believe I've never seen the connection. It's cool.
Yeah. So Koen and I came up with the idea, the basic idea, and we wanted to have it really simple, elegant, Curves, lots of curves, because we figure it's on the water and water flows. It doesn't, it's not a box. It's very, it goes with nature. It flows how it needs to flow, and it's got curves when it needs to have curves, and so it didn't seem to make sense for it to be a box on the water. So I wanted to have the house with the interiors where they're all curved surfaces. And I was adamant from the beginning, like I was working with designers and engineers at the beginning, and they would all come back with designs that had boxes. I was like, no, I don't want to see one 90-degree corner. No angles. I don't want to see like 3 edges converging into a corner. I don't want to see that. So it took a while because it's a different way of thinking for people.
Yeah.
It's a lot harder.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, even from the aesthetics point of view, because so would people be able to hang paintings?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. We're going to have walls. We're going to have the walls and surfaces that are curved, as well as there's going to be flat areas for putting up art if you want to put up art. We're going to have a screen that comes down from the ceiling as well as an option, that if you want to have project a big image and watch movies or TV or something like that.
Like the Jetsons.
Like the Jetsons, yeah. Little areas where you can put artwork if you want to have artwork, or you can even display NFTs if you want to have the NFT artwork displayed. That. We're very pro blockchain tech, so we want to have places where you can display your NFT artwork.
Okay. What other ways are you incorporating blockchain into the project, if there is?
Well, that would be one. Of course, we're also accepting payments in blockchain, cryptocurrency. So you can pay with whatever fiat currency is acceptable. Whatever, major currencies you want to pay in, that's fine, as long as it can be converted to US dollars, because that's the primary currency that we're buying stuff with from suppliers.
Okay.
And then any crypto that you would like to pay in, as long as it's a major crypto that's on, I think the crypto exchange that we're using, or a crypto payment platform that we're using, is Coin Payments, and they currently take, I think, about 2,000 different cryptos.
Okay. So all the main ones.
Yeah, all the main ones.
Yeah. And when are people going to be able to book the houses or to buy them? When do you expect this to happen?
We were last year we had pre-sales open for a couple months, and then I closed that down because I don't like taking people's money before we actually have a physical product. So we took, we have about 15 people that are on the pre-sale list, and we only took $100 deposit. So there's so many real estate projects that take like huge deposits and make promises, and this is something so totally different and new. I wanted to actually have the physical product ready, so people, when it's on the water and floating, we can invite people down and they can experience it, and then if they want to go to the next stage, they can. Right now, the tripod is actually in the water, and we can probably play a video. Actually, I can load that up. So this was a couple of weeks ago with us launching our tripod model.
Okay.
This is huge. You can see how small the people are on this.
Yeah.
Compared to the size of the tripod.
Cool.
It actually went very, very smoothly. We were expecting challenges, but the whole thing was done in about an hour and a half.
Wow.
forward here a little bit. That's some of our team. We have about 30 people at the factory here.
Nice.
So this crane can take about 16 tons or 20 tons weight. And here we are in the water.
That's cool. That is really, really cool. So tell me a bit about the manufacturing process. You build the exit to the water. Where are you building now?
Yes, so we're very close to the water. We're at a marina, so we're about 150 meters where I am right now to the water's edge. So it's relatively easy to get the seapods from here to there. We had to do some work on the path there because it was not finished, so we had to grade it and put down some new pavement. It's like a hard rock.
Okay.
It's called Tosca. I don't know if that's the name used out in other places, but that's what we call it here.
No.
So yeah, it's like a rocky road, and we just had that big crane come by and pick it up. It's called a travel lift, and it came and picked it up and brought it over, and went really smoothly.
It seems. Oh, and one of the last things that I want to ask you, the 3D printer. Okay, so you have right now one of the biggest 3D printers in the world, no?
One of the largest in, well, it is the largest in South and Central America. So it's not the largest in the, well, I don't know if it's the largest in the world, but it's the largest in Central and South America.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's 20 feet long, 16 feet wide, and 8 feet tall.
Okay.
So it's massive. The problem with it is the manufacturer greatly overpromised its speed and its accuracy. So we had a 3D printing expert hacker working on it to try to revamp it, and so we can use it as a foam printer, so we could print with foam.
Oh, cool.
So that project made some progress, but it's kind of stalled right now. It's a lot of R&D to do this. So we're working on that, but in the meantime, in about probably a month and a half, we have some other 3D printers coming that are very large printers. They're about, there's 3 coming, and 2 of them are the size of arcade machines. So they're pretty big.
Okay.
And they allow us to print actual production quality parts. So if you 3D printers before, they usually output parts that are, not super high quality and not good enough for an actual product that you could sell, like an actual that you would expect to find in the store. These 3D printers make parts that are good enough to actually sell in a store.
Okay.
We're just going to use prototyping and developing things in-house.
Okay, and the building of the house itself. So you are not 3D printing, as I thought, you are assembling things.
Yes. So we've gone through many different ways of how to build a seapod. Originally, we were going to use traditional boat building methods. And then we were getting this 3D printer, and then we thought, well, why don't we just print it? And we were getting a special extruder head to be able to extrude a lot of plastic and be able to build the mold out of plastic, or build the entire house out of plastic, or a mix of plastic and foam and something else. and then it just took forever for the manufacturer of the printer to deliver it. And then once he delivered it, the accuracy was not very good at all.
Okay.
And it would take us about 2 years to print at home.
Oh no. Turtle speed. Yeah, if that's the case, then you better just build it by hand, no? There's no reason.
So then we revised our plan to try to get the foam printer portion to work, because then we could actually extrude foam and then go with the like a routing device that would actually cut it out to the shape. So we'd print a layer of foam, then shape it, and then print another layer, then shape it, then print another layer, then shape it with the router, and print another layer and shape it, and then until we had the full mold. So that's something we're still working on. It's just we're working on a lot of projects.
Yeah, but you're getting there, and it's gonna be really, really cool, and I can't wait to visit Grant. Really.
Well, we should be announcing our official launch date very soon. We have actually already picked the date, and we're starting to plan it out right now. It's going to probably be not just one date, but like over a 6-week period, because there's going to be different phases of it. We'll have like an international launch. We'll have a local, just in Panama launch. We'll have a media launch. We'll have a VIP launch. So there's going to be several things, and all coordinated and built around, strategically lined up to build on themselves step by step until we have this big, huge launch at the end. So it should be pretty interesting.
I can't wait, really. So everyone, you heard it from Grant Romundt. If you want to hear more and find out more about ocean builders, go to their Facebook, their website. Grant is currently posting several videos in short periods of time. So you're going to get live updates of what's going on in Panama. So Grant, thank you so much. This is so interesting, and I wish you the best.
Okay, thank you very much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Pleasure has been mine.